Have you ever wondered why so many relationships seem to revolve around what one person gets from the other? What if the hidden rules of dating and marriage were written over 100 years ago and still shape your life today, whether you realize it or not? Dive into the provocative idea known as Briffault's law, a controversial theory claiming that women, not men, hold the real power in relationships. Once you see how this principle works, you may never look at love, sex, or commitment the same way again. What if everything you thought about relationships, power, and who really holds the upper hand was wrong? Discover the century-old theory that's quietly shaping modern gender dynamics, and why Briffault's law might just change how you see dating, marriage, and society itself. Before I continue, please give this video a thumbs up and share it with your friends, so more people can discover this content. Also subscribe to receive more content like this. Briffault's law, named after Robert Briffault, was born in either France or London, most likely in 1876, as the son of a French ambassador and a Scottish mother. He was a surgeon, anthropologist, and author. Briffault's law is a concept that has been cited in discussions about the study of human society and cultures through a comparative lens. Cultures and relationships between men and women. Although not a law in a scientific or legal sense, it is a principle that suggests certain patterns of behavior in human relationships, particularly focusing on the dynamics of male and female interactions. The essence of Briffault's law can be summarized as follows. The female, not the male, determines all the conditions of the animal family. Where the female can derive no benefit from association with the male, no such association takes place. To explore Briffault's law in depth, we'll delve into its implications, criticisms, and relevance in modern society. The initial premise is that women are hypergamous. What exactly does hypergamous mean? Hypergamy often refers to the practice or action of marrying or forming a sexual relationship with a person of a superior socio-economic or social status than oneself. The term is derived from the Greek words hyper, meaning above, and gamos, meaning marriage. Hypergamy has been observed in many societies around the world and can be seen as a factor influencing marital and relationship patterns, social mobility, and the structure of social hierarchies. This statement, often summed up as the idea that relationships stay together or break apart depending on what the woman thinks she is gaining, has been talked about and argued over in many areas, including how humans evolved, and in discussions about gender roles. Briffault's observations were rooted in his study of animal behavior and human societies. From an evolutionary perspective, the principle highlights the role of female choice in mating and social bonds. The underlying assumption is that females tend to choose mates based on the benefits they can provide, such as resources or genetic advantages for offspring. This is seen in many animal species, where males often have to display their worthiness through physical displays, nest building, or providing food. In human societies, Briffault's law suggests that relationships and marriages may be formed and maintained based on the benefits perceived by the female. These benefits are not solely material, but can also include emotional support, social status, and contributions to family responsibilities. The principle posits that if these benefits diminish or disappear, the foundation of the relationship may be compromised. Briffault's law suggests that women enter into relationships or maintain them based on perceived benefits. It is often expanded upon with three supporting ideas. These principles aim to further explain the dynamics of male-female relationships and the conditions under which these relationships are formed, maintained, or dissolved. First, there is the idea that past benefit does not provide for continued or future association. This principle suggests that any benefit provided by the male in the past does not guarantee that the female will continue the relationship in the future. It implies that the ongoing association is contingent upon the continued provision of benefits that meet the female's current needs or expectations. This viewpoint emphasizes a transactional nature of relationships, where the value of past contributions may diminish or become irrelevant over time in the eyes of the determining partner. Another important point shows how shaky or uncertain it can be when a relationship is built on giving something now, in exchange for a promise about the future. According to this view, any agreement where the male provides a current benefit in return for a promise of future association is considered null and void as soon as the male has provided the benefit. This could be interpreted as a critique of the reliability of future-oriented promises. In the context of relationship dynamics, where immediate benefits may be prioritized over long-term commitments or obligations, finally there is the point that a promise of future benefit has limited influence on current or future association and is discounted by the female's estimate of the probability of future association. This idea deals with the weight of promises regarding future benefits and suggests that such promises are only as influential as the female's estimation of their actual realization. In other words, the value placed on future promises is directly related to how likely the female believes those promises will be fulfilled. This perspective underscores the importance of perceived reliability and trustworthiness in influencing relationship dynamics, suggesting that skepticism or doubt can significantly undermine the impact of promises of future benefits. Critics of Briffault's law argue that it oversimplifies complex human relationships and ignores the mutual benefits and emotional bonds that can sustain relationships beyond material or superficial gains. It has been suggested that applying this principle too broadly ignores the importance of love and other factors that are important in human relationships. Moreover, the framing of Briffault's law has been criticized for reinforcing gender stereotypes and a transactional view of relationships, which may not accurately reflect the diversity and depth of human connections. Critics also point out the danger of using such a principle to justify sexist attitudes or behaviors. Despite its controversies, the discussion around Briffault's law opens up important conversations about expectations and dynamics in relationships. In modern societies, where gender roles are continuously evolving and the autonomy and independence of individuals are highly valued, the relevance of such a principle might seem diminished. However, it can still serve as a point of departure for exploring how economic, social, and emotional factors influence relationships today. Female hypergamy indicates that spending time with women slows your momentum and advancement. Why is this so? This is because the people you spend time with either raise or lower you to their level. Because women are hypergamous, you will almost always spend time with a woman who is below you. Women date up, not down. A woman has a natural tendency to try to reduce the sexual appeal of a guy she's romantically interacting with, particularly over time, in order to change the power balance between them in her favor. Women may consider what a man brings to a relationship when deciding whether to stay involved. Remember Briffault's law. This suggests that in many cases, a woman's willingness to maintain any relationship, including friendship, is influenced by the benefits she perceives. However, this doesn't necessarily mean that all relationships lack equal value or genuine connection. Women often prefer partners with higher status or resources, but this doesn't mean they are always a burden to men. Many relationships can be positive and helpful for both people. Some men may feel that spending time with women is often motivated by sexual interest, rather than purely for companionship. For these men, time spent outside of a sexual context can sometimes feel less engaging, especially if there are frequent disagreements or differences in communication styles. Many men also value time alone to think, plan, and recharge. As an old saying goes, men often appreciate food, sex, and silence. However, this perspective does not reflect the experiences of all men, as many genuinely enjoy and appreciate women's company in various ways. Female hypergamy indicates that familiarity breeds contempt, while absence makes the heart grow fonder. In some cases, spending too much time together can lead to familiarity that might reduce attraction if the relationship lacks growth or excitement. This doesn't mean that all time spent together is negative, but maintaining a healthy balance between closeness and independence can help preserve mutual appreciation. Sometimes giving space can renew interest and attraction, but neglect or distance over time can harm emotional connection. Healthy relationships rely on mutual respect, communication, and understanding rather than purely on absence or presence. Regarding gender roles, masculinity and femininity are qualities expressed in many ways and are not simply changed by how much time partners spend together. A strong, balanced relationship supports both individuals in expressing their authentic selves without losing attraction or respect. You might wonder why certain relationship dynamics were less of an issue in the past. One reason is that the environment where male-female interactions took place was very different, and people generally spent less time in casual contact than they do today. In earlier times, women often focused primarily on household duties and typically did not work outside the home or socialize extensively once they were in a committed relationship or married. There was also strong social stigma against women having close friendships with men they were not romantically involved with. As a result, men rarely spent time with women outside of sexual or family context. Men and women usually met in specific social settings, and romantic or sexual connections tended to develop more quickly. The feminist movement has since brought significant changes to Western society, including advances in gender equality, greater access to education and employment for women, more equitable pay, legal rights such as the ability to initiate divorce, control over reproductive choices, and property ownership. These shifts have influenced how relationships and gender roles function today. Feminist analyses might critique Briffault's law for potentially objectifying women's roles in relationships, and for not adequately considering the agency of all parties involved. Feminism emphasizes equality, mutual respect, and the dismantling of traditional power structures in relationships, challenging the notion that relationships are primarily maintained for material or one-sided benefits. Briffault's law, despite its simplicity and the controversies it may engender, provides a lens through which to examine the dynamics of relationships and gender roles. It prompts a critical evaluation of how benefits, both tangible and intangible, while it should not be taken as a definitive explanation for all human relationships, it serves as a catalyst for deeper discussions on the complexities of human mating, marriage, and partnership in the context of evolving societal norms. In short, understanding Briffault's law means looking at how human nature, personal feelings, and social pressures all shape our relationships. It invites an ongoing dialogue about the nature of love, commitment, and partnership in an ever-changing world. If you do enjoy the content on my channel, I'd greatly appreciate your support. Please consider subscribing to stay updated on future uploads and giving the video a thumbs up if you enjoy it. Your support means the world to me, and it helps the channel grow.